Hello, beautiful folk of YouTube. Thank you for joining me. Today I want to read a lyrical poem to you, or a poetic lyric to you, once again by John K. Samson, but this time it's one of the most complex and yet beautiful lyrics that I've ever come across in my life, and I love listening to the song. The song is beautiful, but I love listening to the song almost as an audiobook of reading the lyrics because they're so powerful. And the song has a very unusual name if you don't have the context. It's Letter in Icelandic from the Ninette San. And what the references are there is the Ninette San is Ninette Sanatorium, which was a tuberculosis treatment center in Manitoba, where of course John K. Samson is from and where much of his writing is set. And the Icelandic letter, or letter in Icelandic, is because he uses a character from Icelandic folklore to compare these two worlds. And essentially it is comparing this character, Greta, this Icelandic character who set off on this hopeless mission and ended up, of course, in horrific defeat and having his hands cut off. And on the other hand, the narrator in the song, who is presumably isolated and sick in the sanatorium and is reading these letters from a friend or a family member, presumably a family member, whilst sipping this terrible coffee, and doing this comparison between the letters, the terrible coffee, and Greta's last stand in Drengi. And if Greta had just read these letters and tasted this terrible coffee instead, he would have just surrendered and laid his blade down. So it's also quite funny in that sense, but absolutely incredibly beautiful. And then with the painful ending of "Don't write to me anymore," because it's just too emotional and too horrific. But anyway, I will stop jabbering and I will read the poem or the lyric to you. You'll recall from the sagas, I hope, Greta's last stand at Drangi, how his grip on the sword made his enemies cut off his hand. If he'd fled here instead and had tasted this terrible coffee, or read these letters you sent, he'd surrender and lay the blade down. And it's Halloween. Skinny ghosts dress like cowboys and rest at the railing by my door, on their way from the children's ward. Bev Monroe and his Pembina Valley boys play at the party, and I practice my English on nurses. Oh, that's a nice name. And they may ask for mine, but the burns on my back from the x-rays say I shouldn't show anyone anything ever again. In another year I'll be buried or shivering here, coughing at the grey spittoon, painted orange by the harvest moon. Pack up mother's clothes, drive her down to the New Bethel home, sell the boat to Arneson, and then go. Stand up straight in the place you're longing for. And don't write to me anymore. Thank you for joining me for that beautiful lyric. And once again, if you do want to actually have a copy of that, you'll find it in Lyrics and Poems, John K. Samson, 1997 to 2012. And it's from the album Provincial, which was released in 2012. Have a great day. Continue the work of reading, listening to music, being kind, being friendly, and enjoying life as much as you can. Take care.